Hello friends. I am going to show you how to crochet this beautiful hat. In Stitch Waffle you would like to know how to weave it. Stay with me to watch this video from start to finish. Also, if you like this video, I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. Click on the little bell, which appears at the bottom where it says everything, so YouTube will let you know every time I have a video to share with you. Let's get started quickly with the materials. For this occasion I am going to use a thin wool. 1 wool number 314mm crochet. A tape measure. Equipment for wool or stamen, to lose the bits of material. And scissors left. I will start securing my first stitch and weaving 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 chain stitches in total. I'm going to pass a chain stitch and in the chain stitch that follows, taking only half of the chain stitch teju single stitch, half of the chain stitch single stitch, half of the chain stitch single stitch. And so I will be weaving until I complete 9 stitches that I must have left. Once we have these 9 stitches, I'm going to make him a chain stitch and this last stitch this one I have here. Well, I'll take only half of the chain stitch. This is the height stitch chain, and this is the stitch I have to knit, which was the last twist. We can lose this little piece of wool, or we may lose it later. And next single stitch, taking only half of the chain stitch. Single stitch siguiente single stitch single stitch. Single stitch and here. Only, make sure we take only half of the chain stitch to fit this edge, and our elastic can be formed. Here at the end I only have 1 stitch left. I'm going to take the full stitch here at the end, and I knit a single stitch a chain stitch. I will take only half of the chain stitch, twist and start knitting. Same only half of the chain stitch single stitch. 2 Remember that there are 9 3 4 5 6 7 8. And here is 1 stitch that I am going to take in full, the edge stitch. And to knit single stitch a chain stitch, this is my last stitch. I take only half and continue to weave. Half of the chain stitch. Single stitch single stitch. And so now this is going to be. I'm going to do it round after round until obtaining the. Look, here I am already at the last stitch. And this last stitch I take it in full. And single stitch. Then let's weave. So until we get the reinforcement we need. Let's see how much it is. What they are going to leave in centimeters and in rounds, yes. In this case you are going to measure the reflection of the person's head. Who it will be. If it is a baby, newborn, will leave 32 to 30 and 4 centimeters in diameter. And it would be approximately 57 rounds. Of the elastic, the size from 3 to 6 months would be 34. 42 centimeters and would be approximately 60. We'll give them approximately 60 to 60 rounds. From 6 to 12 months are 41-46 centimeters. And can give them 60 rounds or up to 63 rounds. For 1 to 3 years is 45 to 50 and 1 centimeter and more or less are approximately 63 rounds. From 4 to 10 years are 47 to 50 and 1 centimeter. And we are going to leave him 75 rounds. Which in this case is the one that I am going to knit. For teenagers would be 51 to 50 and 4 centimeters in diameter. And there are 78 rounds. And for women they are 54-57 centimeters with 81 rounds. For men 57-60 centimeters with 84 rounds. Then let's weave. The love that everyone needs. In this case, I already have the I need. I am going to be about 4 to 10 years old. We will identify the rounds as follows. This would be my first round. We can knit it too. Turn to make it easier. This is the first round. This one that is upwards. The second, then we have 1, 2. Below is marked 1, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, and so we will be able to count. Now we have the more or less. How do I comment? And I will do the following. I am going to start in this case. In this way. And here. Here I will pass and here they will appear. With the stitches I have. I am going to pass on one side and the other. So I move on to the next stitch on one side. And the other one, and I'm going to close with a slip stitch. Next stitch on one side. Of the other. Slip stitch on one side. Of the other, slip stitch, and so on. Slip stitch. I will continue to weave until the end. My whole round. And once you have finished with all the stitches, in this case only one remains. This is how I'm going to stay. Now we have the base. What are we going to do? I am going to make him 2 chain stitches in this case. And here, look here at this. These 2 chain stitches is the equivalent of this relief. Now here in the middle I am going to knit him. I'm going to pass, and in this case I'm going to knit a double crochet. Here where I have this relief. Double crochet. Halfway. Double crochet. Here where the relief is formed. Double crochet in half. Double crochet embossed. Double crochet. And so I will continue to weave until the end. My whole round, and I have to stay the same number of rounds. For example, if you left him, in this case 66, you have to have 66 high stitches left. I want to show you I already have in this case the amount of stitches I will need. In this stitch I have here. What are the 2 chain stitches? I'm going to knit at the bottom. And I'm going to make a slip stitch. Those chain stitches. I'm going to move on to these next 2 stitches. And I'm going to knit him a double crochet. Next double crochet, and on this one that is still embossed. Double crochet, I move on to the 2 following double crochet. Double crochet, and this one follows. I take it in relief and knit a double crochet. And so I will continue to weave 1, 2 normal high stitches. 1 for each space. And in this one that is still highlighted. And so I will continue to weave the next one. 2. And stitch number 3 in relief. I am going to complete my round. Once the round is over, I'm going to knit here in the second chain stitch, or rather, on the chain stitches at the bottom a slide. 2 chain stitches, and these 2 stitches follow. I'm going to take them down 1. And dosora at this stitch. Here it is going to be formed. Look at this. This little bond one have here. I'm going to take it from the bottom. And I'm going to knit him a double crochet. I move on to the 2 stitches that follow. And teju at the bottom 1. And 2. And in this stitch that follows, friends, look at. Here you can see this little ribbon. This one we have here. And I knit a double crochet and continue with the following 2. Below. Below, and this relief stitch. Here this loop is reformed under the chain stitch. Look, here is the chain stitch. And below the chain stitch is this stitch. And double crochet in this process. I will repeat it until the end of my whole round. Here we have again our step relief stitch. And double crochet. And at the end of our round, I'm going to do the 2 stitches at the bottom. And I will knit under the chain stitches. I'll slip stitch. Dos chain stitches, and I'm going to move on to these next 2 stitches. In this case I will knit them double crochet. Double crochet in this stitch that is still embossed. Double crochet again. Double crochet. And the stitch that follows. In relief double crochet. Double crochet. And the stitch that follows highlights. And so on until I complete my entire round 1. I'm going to weave it again. 2 in this stitch. En relieve. And this is how it will look like. Once we finish our round. Friends, let's do the same process. Then let's knit a round. As well as I just made it. Which was round number 2. And then we are going to do the round which is of the stitches at the bottom. What is this one that follows? So I take the next stitch at the bottom. I'm going to take the stitch well at the bottom. And this one is still here. You can see that this stitch is formed. Then I take and teju at the back. Then again 1 2 on the back. And this stitch I have here. This one I know you can see here. Look under the chain stitches. That's the stitch you take. And knit it in double crochet and then. Well, this is how we are going to weave 1 in 1 round. Yes, again. Here we have our stitch below. And double crochet, then it's going to be a round like this one. Single stitch in 1 round. As the previous one. Of the normal stitches and the relief stitch. I'm going to go a little lead and come back. Now let's work on the height. How many rounds am I going to leave behind, for newborns? Let's leave 13 centimeters. And then we will start the decrease. From 3 to 6 months, we still leave approximately 13 centimeters. And we start with the decrease. From 6 to 12 months, we will leave you from 14 to 15 centimeters, and we start with the decrease. From 1 to 3 years, let's leave 17 centimeters and start with the decrease. From 4 to 10 years 20 centimeters and we start with the decrease. For the teenagers let's knit 21 centimeters and decrease. For ladies 23 centimeters and we decrease and in the end. For men from 24 to 25 centimeters approximately. And we start with the decreases. This just remember that it will be the height. And then start with the decrease. I have left a total of 1. Here it is 2 rounds for each space, it is 2 4 6 8. 10 12 y la round. 12 14 rounds in total for the stitch. I will now continue in this case. With the decrease part. I am going to start with 2 chain stitches. And I'm going to stop by. In this case it is appropriate to knit at the bottom. In this round I knit an undouble crochet. Double crochet on and close. And this stitch I have here. I take it as follows. Underside double crochet on. Double crochet on and close. And the next stitch below as appropriate. And this is how I will complete my round. Follow these 2 stitches. I take them at the bottom without finishing. Double crochet 1. And I close, and this is how I will be doing the decreases. Then it is important that you take into account that, in this case, the decreases will be the equivalent of 3 rounds. Yes, then, for you to take into account and leave the necessary space of the length. And this is how I will continue until the end of my whole round. Next below. Next below. And I close in the stitch that follows, which is the relief stitch. I knit it in the back, taking only a small bow. After the end of my first round of decrease, I go for the one that follows. Teju dos chain stitches. In this space where I made the decrease. Double crochet 1. The following relief. Double crochet 1 and close next. Normal double crochet the one still embossed. And I close, and thus I will continue the whole round. A normal double crochet. 1 of relief. And normal double crochet. 1 of relief. And close until the end of my whole round. Once the round is over, I am going to upload this as already the third round of decrease. I will go up with, in this case, 2 chain stitches. And I'm going to stop by here, and I'm just going to weave. In this case, the relief stitch. The following unrelief stitch, and I close. I'm going to pass this stitch without knitting, and I will only be weaving the relief one. I pass this stitch without knitting, I go to the relief. And close, and sew. I will continue to weave everything around. Pass the stitch. And I only go to the relief and close. Here to finish. I have finished this stitch without. Rather, I have I pass where I have the chain stitches, and I can close them. Here I have a small hole left. That in this case I am going to withdraw. And with the help of our grandmother, I am going to finish closing that remaining space. The way to close it will be as follows. I'm going to start from here, side to side. Look at, friends, from side to side. Up from down to up. Look. This one is on top. Now I go from the bottom up like this. Next, from bottom to top. From bottom to top. And so on until the entire edge is completed. Here I started, look. And I only throw. East pass through the center. And at the bottom. I can close well now, rather squeeze this part well. We close it so that it is well closed. And we may already lose this little piece of material. We can give it a round around here. And lose the wool. And what do you think, my friends? I'm going to lose the wool and come back to show you how it has turned out. I want to show you how the final result turned out. I hope you practice it at home. Remember that you can weave it in different sizes. I say goodbye, waiting that you can accompany me in the following video. So for this I invite you to subscribe. Activate the notification bell shown at the bottom. Click on where it says all and enjoy from the following video. Thank you very much for joining me today, and see you next time.